Le Collège des médecins retire les
Abortion
restrictions.
is
How will
one
the
of the
decision south
most
of the border
common
impact the
surgical
abortion
procedures
clinics
in Canada. They are funded under provincial health plans and legally available across the country, but often access is not simple.
Why is it important for a woman to have access to abortion? Well, for women, the ability to control procreation, both the timing of it, but also the choice around whether you want to take on that lifetime responsibility and whether you're in a place in your life where that feels like it's something you can handle. I think it's key that women have autonomy over their bodies.
On sait qu'il y a plusieurs raisons qui font qu'il y a des grossesses non planifiées ou qu'une grossesse qui était planifiée devient non voulue. Donc, c'est important pour chaque personne d'avoir un contrôle sur son corps, un contrôle sur sa vie, puis décider si on veut être parent, puis quand on veut être parent, c'est fondamental pour décider de notre futur.
Abortion is considered healthcare. It is a medically necessary service that is funded by the provinces, and the Division of Powers operates under Section 92 to give the provinces jurisdiction over healthcare. Our Constitution does a good job in setting out spheres of responsibility between the federal and provincial governments, and healthcare is one where, you know, increasingly because of the cost of healthcare, and it is so expensive to deliver, the provinces have to admit that they can't exert pure constitutional power in this area. It's just impossible. It can be tense when you have, for example, a party like the Liberal Party is in control of the federal government, but you have a province where you have a conservative premier. There can be tensions there, but the system only works if everyone works together, because the provinces cannot do it alone. They simply can't. They have to rely on the federal funding. So the Canada Health Act's purpose is to ensure consistency and accountability across the country in healthcare delivery.
La loi canadienne sur la santé dit que tous les services qui sont médicalement nécessaires devraient être accessibles sans frais pour toutes les personnes assurées.
Your access to healthcare and to medically necessary services should be the same. And it also ensures that you should not be paying out of pocket for any services. There should be no direct billing of patients. It should all be funded upfront by the various provinces. So the federal government is the huge funder of healthcare in Canada, but the administration is done by the provinces. The federal government is limited to its funding power. In that respect, all they can do is exert financial pressure. So one thing they could do is exert more financial pressure. The amount of money that they're clawing back is a pittance. It's a very small amount of money. They could do a better job of enforcing the Canada Health Act by making the penalties stronger for non-compliance. It does leave the provinces with a certain amount of power to put barriers in place. But because healthcare is a provincial responsibility, it allows those kinds of regional barriers to be put into place, and it becomes harder to dismantle them because you have to fight in each province separately. You can't have like a national case that would ensure equality of access. So the Canada Health Act then can be used as a stick by the federal government to claw back money from the Canada Health Transfer when a province is not abiding by this universality requirement that requires universal access across the country. The federal government's role in ensuring that it's the same across the country is just too important for the division of powers issues to become overriding in this case.
À ce moment-ci, ce n'est pas toutes les provinces qui s'assurent que les services sont gratuits. Donc, on sait qu'au Nouveau-Brunswick, par exemple, il y a des femmes qui décident d'aller dans une clinique d'avortement privée, vont devoir débourser des frais importants. Donc, je pense que le gouvernement pourrait retirer, dans le fond, ou stopper les transferts en santé pour essayer de mettre de la pression pour que le Nouveau-Brunswick, par exemple, offre des services d'avortement plus accessibles.
There have been provinces that have had anti-abortion politicians who have tried to I guess, further stigmatize abortion or to decrease its availability by refusing to pay for abortions in clinics.
Malheureusement, il reste encore énormément de barrières qui empêchent les personnes d'avoir accès à des services d'avortement. Par exemple, les cliniques, les points de service en avortement sont très mal distribués sur le territoire. Puis on sait qu'il y a encore énormément de tabous, des organismes anti-choix qui viennent mettre plusieurs barrières aussi pour essayer de biaiser l'information qui est accessible pour les femmes. Par contre, je pense que les provinces peuvent mettre en place, par exemple, des politiques pour assurer l'accessibilité aux services. C'est une juridiction provinciale, puis il y a des choses que les provinces peuvent faire.
If you pass a law, it will immediately be challenged. And then we'll be in court talking about abortion. And I'm happiest when no one is talking about abortion from a legal perspective, because the way we treat it now, it's just a medical service like any other medical service. My feeling has always been that the best thing the federal government can do is to continue to make sure that there are no criminal laws around abortion, that they use the carrot and stick of the Canada Health Act to, entice provinces to ensure access and punish those that are putting up barriers. But from a legal perspective, having no law is better than a law that leads to a lot of court challenges. The Court of Appeal in Ontario were really clear that abortion is a service that carries a history of stigma and moral outrage. I would hope that abortion would be destigmatized, that we would be able to talk about it as just another medically necessary service. And so I would like to see more providers. I'd like to see it incentivized and taught in medical schools. And ultimately, I would like to see provinces just accept that abortion is necessary, that it should be performed at every publicly funded institution. There should be no barriers in place. We don't need referrals. We don't need to have it done in a hospital. It can be done in a clinic. We should just move forward and quit treating it like it's something that people should be ashamed of.
Le droit des femmes, ça c'est super important aussi. T'sais, on a vu ce qui est arrivé aux États-Unis. On veut pas qu'il y ait des répercussions de ce côté-ci. C'est épeurant un peu quand on voit ce qui s'est passé. Puis il y a quand même un mouvement de droite qui est important au Canada aussi, qu'on veut s'assurer qu'on ne glissera pas dans la même situation. Je pense que ce qu'on souhaite, c'est que chaque personne qui est enceinte, qui ne veut pas l'être, puisse avoir accès aux services sans barrière.